Yeah, everybody enjoy their Memorial Day weekend. Stay safe out there. Hopefully we'll have good weather.
Well, we need good weather because we got the Cotton Row Run coming up.
Yeah.
So I know we got a lot of people listening to the show that are getting their 5K, 10K bodies ready to go for a little jog through the streets of Huntsville.
Yes, absolutely.
And the hill, by the way. If you've not ran
25 years
Row
for the
Run,
Cotton Row.
Yeah, if you've not been a part of the Cotton Row Run, the hill gets you every time.
Right.
And it's on 10K. It's not on the 5K. It's just on the 10K. Hill will get you.
It'll get you. If you ever seen me running, you know it'll get you.
I've seen grown people crawl up the hill sometimes.
Yeah.
It's pretty big. But good luck to everybody that's taking part in that over the weekend and stuff. See you guys Tuesday.
Code JOEQ, JOEQ, to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Cannon. You've heard me sing the praises of 5 Hour Energy, but now I'm singing even louder because they've introduced an incredible new flavor, Spicy Cinco de Mango. Spicy Cinco de Mango has a spicy chili flavor followed by a sweet mango flavor. Yes, that's right. You heard me. A spicy energy shot. It's spicy, sweet, and a tad bit unhinged, just like your boy. And it's only available online for a limited time while supplies last. So don't wait. Head to 5hourenergy.com to order Spicy Cinco de Mango today. That's 5hourenergy.com.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
ED, because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, HIMS can help. Through HIMS.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy. And from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but HIMS can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Good morning, I'm Doug Brown. The Thunder beat the Timberwolves in Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals, 118-103. OKC takes a 2-0 series lead behind Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who tied his career playoff high with 38 points after getting the MVP trophy in a pregame ceremony. The reigning Stanley Cup champion Panthers shut out the Hurricanes 5-0 to take a 2-0 series lead. Sam Bennett with 2 goals and an assist. Sergei Bobrovsky gets his 3rd shutout of this postseason. Panthers center Sam Reinhart had to leave with a left leg injury. He'll get tests today. The Phillies beat the Rockies Thursday 2-0. Colorado is now 8-42. That's the worst 50-game start since the Louisville Colonels in 1895.
There's power in caring when it is put into action. Each year, our bankers serve on nonprofit boards, support our local educators, and volunteer with our hometown food bank. I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryan Bank, and community service is just not a line item in our mission statement. It's who we are. Because after all, Alabama is our home too. That kind of commitment to community might not be what you would expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give us a call or stop by one of our 2 offices in the Huntsville area and experience unbeatable service and legendary results.
Bryan Bank Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID 2428943, member FDIC.
It just works. Picture this. You're at home doing whatever it is you do. Then the power goes out. Then what? Well, at my house, life goes on. We have a Generac automatic home standby generator from Current Electrical and Generator Services. For your home security and peace of mind, get a free personal consultation on how a Generac automatic home standby generator can protect you. Current Electrical and Generator Services. Call or visit us on the web at HuntsvilleGenerators.com. You've got the power.
Carrabba's Italian Grill is the best place to enjoy authentic Italian cuisine, passed down from our founders' family recipes. Featuring a wood-burning grill, you can enjoy Carrabba's signature dishes, including chicken brine, wood-fired grilled steak and chops, and classic Italian pasta dishes. Have a special event? Elevate your catering with Carrabba's Catering, the perfect way to enjoy large party portions of your favorite hand-prepared dishes for any event. Carrabba's Italian Grill at Parkway Place, Huntsville.
Atlanta Braves.
Cranks one high in the air to deep left field. That's got a fly. It's a 3-run homer. And Sean Murphy off the injured list and onto the stat page with a 3-run homer off Zach Wheeler.
All season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Joe Hunk. John Abraham. 256-576-4977. Welcome to the Blitz.
Welcome indeed to John Abraham, Joe Hunk. 2 hours straight of sports talk. Going into 2 more hours, as we'll be with you guys for 4 complete hours on this Friday edition of the Blitz. And, well, the Tom Abraham Show, which we'll just call the Blitz 2.0. We're kind of like the it's the Amish. We're kind of like the Amish, Joe. All right.
No, we love technology.
No. Well, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I guess not
Amish.
in the technology side of things, because I feel like I was staring at a screen for the entirety of yesterday. In the way that we do not like half more of what normal people do, we just do a whole 100% more than other people do, because we do 2 shows to try and fill out what we missed out on in the past week, which is, a whole hour and a half of a show.
I'm really trying to figure out where you're going with this.
So
I'm just letting you ride.
I had this in my head. It was working a lot better, but I remember back to those Tuesday and Wednesday episodes where we only did 30 minutes combined. So honestly, it didn't work out, but I was going off of Kingpin.
Basically,
so,
basically what's happening is this is hour 1 of 4 for us today.
Oh, yeah.
Which is great, because obviously you can tell in my voice how good I feel right now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, hour 1 of 4. We've got 2 hours here, and then last 2 hours are going to be from noon to 2 with the Tom Abraham Show.
Yes.
So that means ESPN Winchester, you're going to get us for 3 hours.
Whoa!
And WZZN TV, you get us for all 4 hours. And then the last 2 hours, we're also going to be on in Nashville. So
that's going to be so fun.
Yeah. So this is going to be a really busy day. And always remember that the Blitz is brought to you by Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
The guys you need to talk to about all of your roofing needs. If you're having any roofing problems, make sure you look them up online at FlemingHSV.com to fill out your free quote today. And remember that Fleming always shows up. It's supposed to have a little bit of rain this weekend, some thunderstorms, so definitely stay ready and stay prepared for all things to come here in the Tennessee Valley. And Joe, you do sound like crap, dude. What the hell's going on over there?
Yeah, remember me telling you about how my kids let miss the last 3 days of school because he was sick?
You sounded like normal yesterday, and now I can actually tell there's a little bit of sickness in those lungs of yours.
I've been up since about 2 a.m., just going ahead and just staying sick, body aches, coughing like crazy. You know, you swap from one side of the pillow to the other side of the pillow with your head.
Yeah.
So you got to wait a few minutes where all the snot goes from one nostril to the other nostril so that you can actually breathe.
Very satisfying feeling.
I would actually much rather not have to go through that. So then we have that. Between that, the daughter waking up, my wife waking up as well, because obviously the daughter's waking up. The wife's got to do something because, again, useless.
Yeah, you can't just neglect that the baby is crying. I mean, you got to get up and do something.
So we've been up at all hours of the night. Like I wish I would have gotten sick on Tuesday. That's kind of what I would have wished.
That would have been perfect.
Yeah, I wish I would have been sick on Tuesday and then have this the way that this sounds on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then by Thursday be kind of over it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to be the case. So this is the voice that you're going to get for the next 4 hours.
And I can just hear all the people in their car cheering right now.
Most people's voices get deeper. Mine gets softer. I don't know why.
I think that's the case. I think that's just a normal thing. I mean,
it's so odd.
For me and Bandy, whenever we had a show and it was like a week where everybody in the studio was getting sick, all right? I don't know what it is. I think it's just because we're all next to each other and at the same time, we don't take a lot of days off. But I remember Bandy getting like the deepest voice known to man. I was like, damn, like this is a man right here talking
It's
to
the
me.
opposite for me.
And then like a few days later, I ended up having a deep voice for like one day. And honestly, I can't even. It was right after the Sparkman Austin game.
I remember that.
Yeah, and I got I went all out on that Sparkman game, and I remember the next day my voice was as deep as can be. But we got a lot of fun things to get into today. SEC baseball takes a few curveballs, and I got to admit, there's two ways to look at this. Okay, because we got teams like Texas falling, but you look towards the NCAA tournament, and this honestly is helping them out. This is something that they would like. The same thing could go for Alabama, except for they might drop a seed. That's one thing that might affect them, but at the same time, getting a few more days to heal. But there's also the other way you can look at it. A few more days of rest could lead to maybe a team that could fall to a team that's been on one for the last 5 days. I could look at a Tennessee. They had a game against Alabama. That challenges them. That throws them into this Texas-Tennessee matchup. And then they're able to just continue on what they had in day two. I mean, there's definitely multiple ways you could look at it.
There's a couple of ways. If Baseball America, which obviously everybody has projections of bracketology and everything, with the win yesterday, Baseball America actually moved Tennessee up now to a host site.
Nice.
So they are, according to Baseball America, at least in their projections right now, Tennessee is now a 14 seed. Overall, which means that they would be hosting West Virginia, East Tennessee State in Bryant. Now, I have never been one to actually think about, conspiracy theories like we always talk about, like in sports, like, okay, is this a conspiracy theory? Are they really just wanting so-and-so team to win because they don't like this team? No, because if that was the case, the Milwaukee Bucks would have never won the NBA Finals.
Got them.
Yeah, I mean, never.
Small market teams don't win, man.
Never would have won the NBA Finals. So I look at the way this is setting up, and if this were to be the way that the bracket would play out, this would actually be really fun. Because right now, according to Baseball America, if this goes the way that, it could potentially go, Alabama would be traveling to Tallahassee. Tennessee would be hosting. Vanderbilt would be hosting. Auburn would be hosting. Right now, Baseball America has Vanderbilt as the number 3 overall team and Tennessee the number 14 overall team. So, guess who would play each other in the Super Regional?
Who's that?
Tennessee and Vandy. If this were to be the bracket.
And we're already getting a taste of that.
We're going to get that again. We'll get edition 4 of that tomorrow. If Alabama were to win down in Tallahassee against Florida State, they would face Auburn in the Super Regional.
Well, they're going to. In football, in football.
No, I'm talking about in the Super Regional of baseball. Now, this is obviously, we still have a lot to go, and every single day something changes with this because, Tennessee was a 2 seed. Now they've already moved all the way up to being a host team at 14, according to Baseball America. So, yeah, there's a lot that could take place. I'm just kind of looking at this from a standpoint of, all right, this would actually be kind of cool for storyline purposes if that was going to be the case. But yeah, Alabama is right now looking at this. Florida right now has moved up. Actually, I would say Florida moved down because now they are traveling to Conway, South Carolina for the Coastal Carolina Regional. If this were to be if this is the case for the bracketology, the way that it has been updated this morning. So a lot of stuff can change, especially between Tennessee and Vanderbilt as they're going on. You obviously still have to figure out what's happening today because you have 2 more baseball games that are going to be taking place down in Hoover, where it's going to be Ole Miss and Arkansas, Texas A&M and LSU. The winners of those 2 games are going to play each other tomorrow afternoon after Tennessee and Vanderbilt in the semifinals of the SEC baseball tournament. So it's going to be a little bit crazy. And again, if you're looking at an Ole Miss and an Arkansas, you can improve your seating a little bit, but then there's Texas A&M. And Texas A&M is sitting there, and they are continuing to smile and go, we still have a chance. They've moved up. They're still part of the next 4 out. But I've looked this up earlier today. The lowest seed to ever win the SEC baseball tournament was an 8 seed, and that was LSU, and that was in 2010. There's a kind of caveat to this because up until recently, you only went so far with your seeding because they were based on each individual, I should say, division of this. So you would have like the bottom 7 teams and the bottom 7 teams the other way around. And then when you added teams, that's how it was going to look out.
Yeah.
So there wasn't always this seeding of 1 through 16 the way that there is this year. Texas A&M, on the other hand, they are the 14 seed. They would be the lowest seed by far if they were to win 3 more games.
Do you think we throw out the record books, though? With this new tournament, I mean, it's 1 win and you move forward. I mean, is that big of a difference to where you can kind of forget about the past and think that this is a totally different tournament we're looking at?
Well, the idea with the tournament now is going to be the way that teams have been approaching it. Like, look at Tennessee, for instance. Like, their game is being replayed right now on SEC Network. They threw their ace yesterday. So they're starting to go into it because Thursday meant that their number 1 starter, which was their quote-unquote Friday starter, had his full week's rest. So with Arkansas, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, and LSU, they could be in kind of that same pattern now that you're going with your aces because they're going to be on normal rest.
Yeah.
I'm going to be curious to see what these teams choose as far as their starting pitching is concerned, especially with an LSU Texas A&M, because again, Texas A&M needs every single win. LSU is set. They're going to be a host site. They're going to be bringing in the regionals. They know where they're going to be coming up next weekend. Texas A&M, not the case. So you have one team that's playing by a whole different set of rules compared to everybody else.
Well, you know what? I don't think anybody's going to be phoning in that Tennessee-Vanderbilt matchup because these two teams don't like each other.
They hate each other.
And I'm very much excited to talk with Ryan Sylvia in the second segment all about this matchup, as well as what exactly is going on with that Texas A&M squad. They're getting far in this thing, and I got to admit, I did not expect it from them. I expected Oklahoma to continue to make a push. They fall to Vanderbilt yesterday 6-1. You could have listened to that on our station 97.7 ESPN, The Zone, as well as on our app. But also moving forward, seeing what Ole Miss is going to be able to do up against Arkansas is going to be interesting. That's going to be today as well. It's going to be the later slate. And it's the early slate, pardon me. But for Arkansas, I mean, this is another game like LSU where they're set and they could just ease into the NCAA tournament, whereas Ole Miss could help push their seeding just a little bit more. But we got a lot of things to get into. That's just a sliver of it because we had more in the NHL. We had more in the NBA. We still got awesome rule changes going down in football, and this time not in the NFL, but in the college football scene. I'm very excited to hop into that because this is what the college playoff should have been last year.
So as we were talking just a second ago, right before the show started, I looked at you and I said, "Oh crap."
Yeah.
And I told you, "Hey man, I'll tell you about this on the air."
Yeah.
Right on my X feed, right before the show started, this headline came about, and I just went, "Oh, this is going to be funny."
Funny, not fun.
Funny.
Okay.
Former Auburn head coach Tommy Tuberville is expected to announce a run for Alabama governor.
We knew this was coming, Joe. We knew it. I've heard his name be thrown around left and right.
Apparently, he made this decision last night. Jeez. And the news sites, are getting this story out in the fresh portion of the day. But look, let's be honest. And I'm not going politics on this. I don't really care. All I know is you have former Auburn head coach and you have Meemaw. Which one would you think about? I'm just saying.
I don't know. Meemaw would take care of me.
Would you really? Have you tried driving around the city recently? You get a massage driving around some of these things right now because things Meemaw are doing. You're just driving around. It's like, "Oh, honey, how are you doing today? You doing good? Yeah. Yep. Construction. There we go. Yep.
The only problem I have with Alabama right now.
Go get my tires rotated.
I drove
a half a mile.
I do need to get my tires rotated, actually. And this leads into what I did yesterday. I didn't realize that in Alabama, getting tags and getting them updated goes off of alphabetical form, and that goes off of my name, Abraham.
Yeah,
I have to get mine done at the very beginning of the year.
Yeah, I've got 7 days to do mine because for H's it's May.
Oh, so you're right in there.
I don't even have the car anymore. I don't even have that car. I guess I still need to get the tag just so that I can keep the custom license plate. I don't know how that works.
Well, for me, I didn't get the tag until like 4 months after. And this is because I have a backup car. All right. I have a backup car. I can just drive around. And it has up-to-date tags. But for the Mustang, I go and get my tags done, and it cost me $45. And I'm thinking to myself, whoa, did the price go up or what? Like, what's going on, man? I didn't get pulled over. And then I look at the receipt and it has a penalty fee of like $15. And I'm like, damn it.
Yeah.
And it still just updates to the first of next year or next year. So the first month
you're
of
a
next year.
January kid, man.
Which sucks because Tennessee's totally different. Shout out to Winchester. Also, you guys have a lot of good things going for you right now. Golly. Well, we'll talk with Ryan Sylvia about some of those good things on the other end. We got 4 hours today. You guys are going to be able to hang out with us. 256-576-9777 is the number to hop in. When we get back, some Tennessee Vols talk with Ryan Sylvia from VolReport.com right around the corner on 97.7. ESPN The Zone, ESPN Winchester, and WZZN TV.
The state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at jetsuperstore.com.
Tom Abraham here for my friends at Your Home Window Company. When it comes to replacement windows, exterior doors, or new window screens, Your Home Window is the answer anywhere in Huntsville, Athens, Decatur, or Hartselle. Your Home Window windows and doors are made here in the USA and come with a lifetime warranty. When replacing those old windows or doors, Your Home Window has the solution for you. In-home estimates are always free and financing is available. Learn more at yourhomewindow.com and see clearly with Your Home Window. Visit yourhomewindow.com to make an appointment today.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, if you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself.
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
Your Fox 54 weather brought to you by Tellini's Italiano.
A fantastic Friday afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the mid-70s, dropping into the upper 50s as we head into the overnight. A little bit of rain is going to be possible. From there, scattered showers and thunderstorms in the forecast on Saturday. Scattered showers and thunderstorms stay in the forecast Sunday. And then as we head into your Memorial Day. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Your Fox 54 weather, only on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Listen weekday afternoons starting at 5 on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
It's perfect.
Got Richard hopping in on the chat, shouting out love to Joe Hunkapiller. You guys can as well. WZZN TV is the place to go for all of that over on YouTube, Facebook, and on our Twitter. I mean, X.
Yes, on X.
Yeah, it's weird. It's still taking me 2 years. This is probably the weirdest transition on an app.
Okay.
Whatever. I'm not
I honestly believe if you did a survey of every person in America, they still call it Twitter.
They still call it Twitter.
And they also still call it retweeting.
Yeah. It's like changing the NFL to a totally different thing, or the UFL or the XFL. Which one is it again?
The Cleveland Indians to the Guardians.
I think just people don't want to. Yeah. Well, yeah, okay. I guess that's very similar. Either way, we figured out who the true UT was yesterday. I feel like we've been trying to figure out who the true UT was for the last year and a half now, ever since Texas has joined in on the conference. And, of course, the SEC has shut that down instantly and called them TX, if anything. But I still like to think that there is some bad blood going on between these two teams. And yesterday, we got to see them hit the diamond for 9 innings, and it was a wonderful matchup.
Actually, it wasn't 9 innings. It was even more than that.
Was it?
12
innings. Oh, it went to 12.
It was 12 innings.
But regardless, this game at one point looked like it was out of hand. It started off, Texas had the upper hand. It was 4-0. It could have easily went into Texas's lap, but for the Tennessee Volunteers, they didn't really want that to be the case. They totally changed things around. Come the 6th inning, they were able to tie it up 4 apiece. And then, well, the rest is history as they go on to win 7-5. But joining us right now is Ryan Sylvia to help us talk a little bit more about this matchup. And Ryan, I mean, did it ever look like Tennessee was truly out of this game, or did you feel comfortable all the way through?
I mean, they go down 4-0, and you look back to how this team's responded in the past, and dropping so many SEC series heading into the postseason. I'm not going to say I felt like they were out of it, but it felt like a tall task for them to come back. And I think that's the biggest storyline for me throughout this whole tournament so far for Tennessee is they've shown resiliency that they haven't for a lot of this season. They've shown that they're able to respond to mistakes and able to respond when things don't go their way, which has been something they haven't been able to do as recently as that Arkansas series in Game 3, the final regular season game of the year. Things look good. You let things start to kind of spiral after a balk call that maybe would have got you out of an inning, and you don't respond from there. Well, now Tennessee's responded after an error put Alabama in front in the second round, and now after a 4-0 hole against Texas, and even in extra innings when Tennessee takes the lead in the top of the 10th, they give it right back up and let the game get tied. In the bottom of the 10th, they're able to respond again. So I think that response has been a nice thing to see from Tennessee and a timely thing with the NCAA tournament right around the corner.
Yeah. Well, and also, and I don't mean to interrupt you, I was saying is when you gave up when you got that lead in the 10th inning, it was literally like the very first batter gets a triple. You're like, crap. And then just a ball that just gets hit right into the outfield. And you're like, great, all of this for nothing. And you're right into this. But why is Tennessee so good in Hoover? Like, I mean, seriously, like there was, in reality, you would have thought down 4-0 to the number 1 team in the country in Texas. You would have thought, okay, they would have said, all right, peace out. Like, let's go ahead and get ready for this. But no, I mean, they come back. They have a 4-run 6th inning. They tie it up. And then here we go again where Tennessee just for some reason plays well at the Met.
They do. Like you look back throughout Tony's entire tenure, and I mean, 2022, the 2 SEC tournament titles they also won the regular season title. So it's not like they go into the tournament and say, got your seeding locked up. You don't really need to do anything here. You're probably the number 1 seed, even if you lose your first 2 games back when it was double elimination. You're still probably the number 1 overall seed like they were in 24 and 22. Well, they still went out and they went out and they won the whole thing. So there is something to it. I don't know if it's just kind of like, hey, let's let this thing rip. There's not a lot of pressure. Like, you win it and that's great, or you lose it and you just turn the page. But maybe part of it too is just kind of that fresh slate. And in a year like this season where things did not finish well for Tennessee, I think it's got to be a little bit refreshing to finally just say, okay, the regular season's in the past. You got your SEC tournament seeding. You can do something about your NCAA tournament seeding and try to push yourself into a position to host a regional. Let's just turn the page, complete fresh slate, and do this thing in Hoover. But man, yeah, ever since Tony got there, it feels like they played their best baseball in the Hoover Met. I don't know what it is about it, but they perform very well there.
Definitely seems like it. Ryan Sylvia from the Vol Report joins us talking all things Tennessee baseball. And I want to know kind of how you, Tennessee fans, and maybe even Tony Vitello himself were feeling whenever Texas was able to tie it up in the bottom of the 10th. I mean, how much of you guys were like gritting your teeth, just like, come on, don't waste these arms. We're going through quite a few pitchers as Tennessee went through 4 of them. I mean, how much of that comes into play whenever you get into these extra innings in this SEC tournament?
Yeah, I think pitching's important. I think when you went to extra innings on paper, that kind of stresses you a little bit because you still have 2 games to play. And you've got to figure out who's going to pitch against some of the best bats in the entire country when you get to that stage of the SEC tournament.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what Brandon Arvidsson did out of the bullpen to relieve Liam Doyle was possibly like saving the SEC tournament good. Because if he only comes in, and even if he pitches well but can only go an inning or 2, like all of a sudden that is a bullpen game. And you have that off day on Friday, but that's not a lot of time to kind of get refreshed for Saturday and then potentially Sunday. And try to gear back up with your best arms. But he was fantastic. He went, I think, over 5 innings.
Yeah.
No one could do anything off of him. Even it was an error on his pickoff move, but it made even the 1 run he gave up in the bottom of that 10th an unearned run. So he was fantastic. And I think that's, part of the resiliency is one of the storylines. Well, I think the other storyline is how good Tennessee's bullpen has looked in Hoover. And that's perfect at this time of the year. AJ Russell is starting to come along, and you get Brandon Arvidsson, who Ryan Schumpert over at Rock Top Insider sent me over this stat earlier, just because it is something that's interesting to look at. In Brandon Arvidsson's first 11 SEC outings, he had a 7.84 ERA and 10 innings pitched, 10.1 innings pitched. In his last 4 SEC outings, 8.1 innings pitched and a 0 ERA, 45% strikeout rate, 3% walk rate. Like, that is elite stuff, and it's at the perfect time for Tennessee.
All right, you mentioned the pickoff. I mean, I know we're talking good about Tennessee. That was awful.
Yeah.
I mean, that was something where I just go, did you try to stop yourself? Like, what happened? It was so far over the first baseman's head. It was ridiculous when it happened. You're just looking at it going, how do you even do that?
Yeah. And for a lefty too, those are always kind of the funny ones, because you would think that, you just kind of get that right leg up and just deliver right over. It should be a little easier than kind of having to turn your whole body. But managing runners has been an issue for Tennessee this year, and it's been on pickoff moves that end up in the bleachers like that one almost did and put a runner on third, or it's been slow deliveries to the plate and you don't really give your catcher a chance to throw a guy out trying to steal. That could be something that, rears its ugly head again against a team like Vanderbilt, that if they get some of their speedsters on, they're aggressive and they're going to try to take advantage. Or when you get to the regional, especially if you're playing a team, maybe you're a 2 seed or you're a 1 seed, in your regional, and you're playing a 3 or a 4 seed, and they feel like they have to maybe make up a little bit of a talent gap. I could see a team trying to get aggressive and force Tennessee into those mistakes. So that could be something that, if you're looking for a negative that's still plaguing Tennessee a little bit, I think the pitch delivery's been a little bit better, especially with Marcus Phillips, but they're still not doing a great job of managing that run game.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that's something that's definitely going to have to show up going into the tournament if they want to see themselves pushing far. But for Brandon Arvidsson, he goes through 5.1 innings, because he did get that last out before getting taken out and replaced with Dylan Loy. But he had 85 pitches, definitely made up for a majority of the pitches in this game, and it does help out. 209 pitches across all 4 of the pitchers, and this definitely helps. But you said it. The batters have been hot. Talk about which ones have really arisen, throughout the second half of this season.
Gavin Keelan's going to get the headlines for hitting that solo shot in the top of the 10th and then hitting the double to score 2 and ultimately win the game in the top of the 12th. And he's been fantastic all season. He missed some time with injury, and it took him a second to maybe catch his breath and fully get back into things, especially maybe in the power department for him. once he came back, but he looks all the way back, and he's been fantastic. The guy, though, that just seems to catch a barrel every time he's at the plate, like whether it's a line out or a fly out, a double, a home run, Andrew Fisher has been fantastic. He looks like a professional hitter. He looks like a guy that's going to climb through the minor leagues and be an MLB guy. He's versatile in the field. He, came in as a third baseman, and he's played first base all season for Tennessee just because that's where the hole defensively has been. He's, been pretty good at it. Like, I don't think you could ask for a guy who hasn't played much first base in his life to do much better than he's done over on that side of the diamond. But, man, he is just a monster at the plate. It's great plate discipline. It's rare he strikes out. He draws a lot of walks, and those exit velo numbers and the all those analytics that go into it, they could not like his swing much more, and it shows because he leads the SEC in home runs. He's towards the top of the country in home runs. Obviously leads Tennessee in home runs. He's just been fantastic this year.
Yeah, and he's jumped around schools, I believe. I remember him at Duke, I think 2-3 years ago, and he went to another school in between. I'm blanking on the name, but then Ole Miss. There you go. So he was in SEC play. But then he comes over to Tennessee, and this is a Northern kid at that. So, what has kind of gotten him to Tennessee, to kind of continue bolstering this roster for Tony Vitello?
I think it's tough to turn down what Tennessee offers to a lot of these guys right now. Like, you see it, like Ole Miss is a great baseball program. They have a lot of history. They recently won a national championship. There's a lot to like as a recruit or as a transfer portal kid about going to Ole Miss. And, that's where Liam Doyle and Andrew Fisher, after their freshman years, both transferred to for a reason. Well, now you're able to bring in two guys from a powerhouse of a baseball school to Tennessee. I think that shows you where Tennessee is in the landscape of college baseball right now. And it's one that it's tough to out-recruit them. If they want a kid, it's pretty rare that they don't close the deal because of, there's the financial backing and the NIL side of things, but also I think a lot of guys respond well to the coaching style of Tony Vitello on the pitching side of things, to a guy like Frank Anderson, to Josh Elander, who helps with the catchers and the hitting aspect of things. It's a young coaching staff, too, when you consider Tony Vitello still a young guy in this game. So he can maybe relate to players a little bit more than some of the guys that have been around for a while. It's kind of a perfect storm. And now that you have the national championship to point to, you have multiple SEC regular season and tournament titles to point to, it kind of has become this perfect storm of getting talent in that Tony was already so good at without much to point at. And then you start to get the results. Like it's I think it's really tough to turn down if you're someone that's not only trying to win in college, but like they're pumping out guys into the MLB. Christian Moore just got called up to AAA. Like there's a lot of examples of guys making a lot of money in the pro level as well.
Look, no, I mean, Christian Moore didn't just get called up yesterday for the Salt Lake City Bees. He had 3 RBIs. He scored 3 times, had 2 stolen bases, and he also had a single double home run. All he needed was a triple for the cycle in his first game with Salt Lake.
Golly.
I mean, he's incredible. And I think that was a good kind of refresh for him as well. Maybe this AA season didn't get to the start that a lot of people expected after he tore it up in that kind of half season last year. But I like to see a guy like Christian Moore start to do well again, and it looks like that AAA fit starting to do well. And with a team like the Angels, you have to check the depth chart. I'm not exactly sure who they have in the middle of their infield, but it's going to be tough to keep him down in AAA for too long if he's going to hit like this.
Oh, no doubt.
Well, no, and I think that the Trash Pandas were even expecting him to go up quicker than that because they had his like bobblehead day, like on like the second game of the regular season.
Yeah,
let's just go ahead and do this because I don't expect him to be here by the end of the week. Like it was just kind of one of those things with this. And speaking of depth, I'm looking at the depth of this Tennessee team, and I'm actually kind of curious. What is the plan now that you do have today off and you're going into Saturday? Like, do you go with it with normal Saturday? Are we going and flipping guys because you want to have your number 2 ready for the championship? Like, how do you go about this?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting question. I think they probably just go out and try to win on Saturday. I think it'll be Tegan Kuntz who's kind of cemented himself as that game 3 starter. He's a true freshman, really highly recruited. Could have got a lot of money to go to pro ball, but instead decided he wanted to do his college career at Tennessee instead. And he's been really good. I think that's probably where my expectation is right now, is that he would get the ball on Saturday. And, because you got to get to Sunday first to worry about Sunday. So I would think that's the way they're going to handle that. And he's got, that proper exact week of rest after the Arkansas series. So that's what I would assume pitching wise. But it does bring up a good question for Sunday. If you do get to the title game, like, it's probably going to have to be a bullpen game. You're probably going to play a team that was able to do their weekend rotation just with the way that the buys work in the SC tournament. Now, if you're a top 4 seed, you just have to play 3 games. So you can just roll that weekend rotation out. You're probably facing a guy that has a lot of starting experience, while Tennessee might have to dive into the bullpen a little bit and hope they get a good bullpen game. So the pitching-wise, I think it's a little bit interesting. In terms of the batting order, though, I think it'll probably roll about the same. I think they've settled on Levi Clark in that DH spot. They like Dalton Bargo in left. They like Manny Marin at third. I think they've kind of started to settle in on that. But you do have some pieces off the bench, some other freshmen like Chris Newstrom, Jay Abernathy. Ariel Antique was a guy that they really like defensively, too. So you do have some pieces you can plug and play there as well.
Well, Tennessee might be keeping their roster pretty high up there when it comes to the SEC and just college baseball in general. But Vanderbilt kind of around the same. I mean, they return a lot of pitchers, and their team is strong on that defensive side. Which one comes more important for this matchup? Do you think Tennessee needs to hold them to less runs, or do you think Tennessee is going to need to hit lights out throughout the entire matchup?
I mean, obviously you need both.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to win doing just one of them. I think in terms of Vanderbilt, like, I think you have to limit those bats right now if you're Tennessee. Of course, you would love to put up 15 runs on 20 hits like they did against Alabama in the second round. But I think if you're going to win that game, there's a chance it looks a little bit more like that Texas game, where if you can just get to 4, 5, 6 runs, that could be enough if your pitching staff follows up as well. But so that's kind of where I'm looking at right now, is what pitching you're going to get from Tennessee. Can Tegan Kuhn's extend his outings a little bit longer than maybe he has, if that's even what Tennessee wants him to do? Maybe they want to try to keep him relatively fresh for a regional next weekend. But that's where I'm looking at a little bit more than maybe the hitting right now, is what can that starting pitching do, and how is the bullpen going to pick them up? Because the bullpen's been great through 2 games in Hoover, but all it takes is one to kind of, wipe away that good taste and put a bad taste in your mouth in terms of what the bullpen looks like right now.
Well, and I know that we were talking about it in the first segment about how Baseball America now has Tennessee as a host site. Do you think that it's solidified that they are a host site, or do they need to beat Vandy to kind of make sure that they aren't going anywhere?
The resume is tough to deny right now. Like, they've racked up SEC wins, and it's a front-loaded SEC win. Like, if you look at all their wins through SEC play, they got off to a really good start and piled up a bunch, and it's been tough sledding since then. But I think you also have to respect to some degree that they didn't get swept. Like, they were able to, at least salvage one game in those series that they just kept dropping at the end of the year. If they beat Vanderbilt, I think you can take that deep breath and say, okay, you made it to the SEC title game. Surely you're a 15 or something like that, and you are going to be able to host the regional. Right now, I wouldn't say it's locked up, though. Like, it feels like a coin flip almost to me. It depends who you talk to. Some people say they need that extra one. When you talk to other people, and they're adamant that, no, Tennessee's locked it up. That was it. That was all they needed, was to beat Texas. It'll be interesting, though. If they lose to Vanderbilt, like, man, it's going to be an interesting thing to see what the committee does with it. Because if they get put in, Tennessee fans are going to be really happy, but there's going to be some fan bases that are pretty irked about it. And if Tennessee gets left out, I wouldn't want to be at the ire of Tennessee fans for making that decision.
Oh, man. Fan base is getting irked that they're not put in on the tournament. I've never heard of that before. Ryan Sylvia from BowlReport.com joins us talking all things Tennessee. And I want to know, does this new format, since we haven't talked to you about it just yet, does this new format kind of help Tennessee's way of play, or does it maybe hurt them in the long run, do you think?
I think Tony Vitello's kind of had the right response about it, where it depends what seed you are. Mm-hmm. Like, if you're a top 4 seed, it's awesome. And that's kind of what he's hinted at. Like, if you're able to just throw your weekend rotation and just treat it as another SEC series, but against 3 separate teams, like, that's great. And even if you get the one bye like Tennessee did, you can manage that. And that's pretty good. But if you're one of those teams that, you're fighting for your life, you weren't one of the better SEC teams, you have to play all 5 games in a 6-day span. Yeah. That's tough. And I think that's where it hurts you a little bit compared to the double elimination format that gave you a little bit more of a fighter's chance. So if you're a good team and you're getting those buys, I think you've got to love it. But if you're a bad team, that makes it really tough to try to string something together. So for Tennessee, I think it helps them because more often than not, they're probably going to be one of those top 4 teams. And in a year that felt like an off year this year, they were still able to grab that 8 seed and be the final team to get the single bye. So that helps them in that regard too. But man, it makes it tough for the bad teams and really helps the good teams.
And on the flip side, I want to look at these next three teams that could possibly see a Tennessee or a Vanderbilt in the championship game. It depends on how it all goes down tomorrow. But, I mean, we got Ole Miss, Arkansas, Texas A&M and LSU, so four teams to go off of.
Would you just go ahead and knock Texas A&M
coulda.
out of this?
I coulda. You know, who knows? But which one of these teams do you want to see the least, and which one would you want to see the most?
I think for Tennessee's sake, I don't think they would love to see Arkansas right now. Like, you just got off a series with them, things didn't go your way, and Arkansas is a really talented team. Like, they are debatably the best team in the SEC. Obviously, Texas won the crown, but they didn't finish too strong, and just got bounced by Tennessee. And that's still a really good baseball team, and they have all the pieces to go to Omaha. But Arkansas is a really good squad, and just with that familiarity of just playing. I mean, maybe Arkansas is saying the same thing about Tennessee. I'm sure both sides maybe are just like, hey, let's leave that series in the past we just played and try something new. A game that I think would be really exciting to see would be a conference championship game between Tennessee and Ole Miss. Like, they've already had their kind of beefs in the past, but when now you throw in Liam Doyle, who wouldn't be pitching in that game, but still, there's that emotion. Andrew Fisher, who's just coming off of Ole Miss and who heard it from that Oxford crowd during the entire trip that Tennessee was down there. I think that would be a fun game for a conference championship. The emotions would be high, maybe a little bit in the Ole Miss dugout, but for Andrew Fisher and Liam Doyle watching the dugout and all the fans in attendance, that would be a great game to watch as a bystander. But for Tennessee to win the thing, I think you have to like A&M. They had that unfortunate injury yesterday too, which makes their roster a little bit easier to manage when you're looking at the batting order. And Tennessee lost that series at home, so maybe there's a little bit of a revenge factor too of them wanting to get that one back, even though obviously they did beat them in the national championship last year.
Oh yeah, and that's an interesting thing too with Texas A&M, the way that they're running right now. Are they hot at the right time? For some people, they might not want to see that team face off in the championship, but regardless, I do want to touch on a little bit of football just for a second. What have you been seeing from the spring going into the summer from this team that might be getting some people's eyebrows raised?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like anything happened too substantial right after, spring practice or anything like that. It's been, run of the mill for Tennessee. No, but
good. How's Nico doing?
You bring in Joey Aguilar, obviously, and he's on campus now trying to get himself familiarized with the playbook and things like that. It'll be an open quarterback competition, though. So it'll be interesting to see who wins it. My money would be on Joey Aguilar right now to be that starter for the Syracuse game to open the year. But a lot of talk kind of around Knoxville right now is that going to be cemented? Like, whoever starts game one, whether it's Joey Aguilar or you pick one of the freshmen in Jake Merklinger or George McIntyre, are they going to be the starter by the end of the year? Are they going to get benched at some point? Because you don't know a lot about what these guys are going to look like, especially when you get to SEC play. And it's quite the welcome to SEC play, too, if you're Tennessee, because your first game in conference play is at home against Georgia, who's obviously going to be ready to go for that one and tough as always. So it'll be interesting to see what that quarterback room kind of develops into. I think it'll be Joey Aguilar to start, but I'm not 100% confident that'll be him to end it. Like, that's just kind of the nature of things. If turnovers start to bother him again, like they did at App State at certain times, how long is that leash going to be with Josh Heupel before he tries to go somewhere else? And that doesn't mean it has to be a permanent change, but I think that's something to monitor, is exactly what happens with that quarterback room and how that develops throughout fall camp.
It'll definitely be interesting to see. Do you think that Tennessee needs that top quarterback in the conference, or even a top 5 quarterback of the conference, to be competitive? Or do you think that the roster kind of fills out very nicely for Josh Heupel?
To be competitive, I think they could be fine without top quarterback play. Like, I think it could be a team that wins 8 or 9 games without a great quarterback play. And I mean, you saw that. Not that Joe Milton was bad at Tennessee, but he was a step below Hendon Hooker. I think that's fair to say. And that Tennessee team still went on to win 8 games and probably could have won more. Just had some balls bounce against them, it felt like. And then last year, I thought Nico was good, but I don't think Nico was great necessarily last year. And that's a team that won 10 games and went to the college football playoffs. So I think you can cover up like elite quarterback play. I think we've seen what happens when Tennessee has elite quarterback play with what Hendon Hooker did in 2022 with the team that was really, it felt like, as good as anyone in the country for most of the season. But it's tough for me to see this team going back to a 12-team playoff necessarily if the quarterback play isn't better than we expect. And there's a chance that it could be. Like, I'm not ruling that out. Joey Aguilar could come out and be fantastic and be a great story at Tennessee and lead them back to the playoffs. Jake Merklinger could come in and look really solid and kind of cement himself maybe as the quarterback of Tennessee's future. Those are all options on the table, but if it looks like kind of what the projections look like, and when you talk to people and just, I guess, what the expectation is for that quarterback room this year, it feels like they're on track for maybe a good but not great season. But I think that's fine in the overall picture of things, because you have a guy like Faison Brandon coming in, the number one quarterback in the 2026 class. And Josh Heupel has good success getting quarterbacks out of the transfer portal. That's how he found Hendon Hooker and Joe Milton in the first place. So it might be a stepping stone year in a way, but, expectations could always be surpassed, and this seems to be really good.
No doubt. There's a lot of new faces within the SEC when it comes to the football side of things. So that's just going to be so interesting to follow throughout the offseason going into fall. And I'm all here for it. Joe's all here for it. And ESPN Winchester is all here for it, as they'll get the games every single week. But Ryan, as always, man, wonderful stuff from you. Let the people know where they can find your work online and on socials.
Yeah, we're over on Twitter, X. You guys were debating it. It's still always Twitter to me. I don't think I'll ever be able to fully call it X. It just feels wrong. But I'm over there at Ryan T. Sylvia. You can follow us at Tennessee Rivals, and then more at ballreport.com for all things Tennessee athletics.
Great stuff, Ryan. As always, man, enjoy the weekend. You're gonna have some fun.
All right, appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Good stuff, as always. Ryan Sylvia, volreport.com, the place to find all things Tennessee Volunteers in Knoxville, really, because, he's up there. Regardless, Joe, we got to hop to a break. When we get back, new college playoff format coming into play. I'm excited for it. We've been talking a little bit about it, and now it might be set in stone. We'll talk about that and more when we get back. Final segment of the first hour coming up next here on the Blitz on 97.7 ESPN The Zone, ESPN Winchester, and WZZN TV.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Drivers who switch to Progressive have an annual savings of nearly $750. Progressive.com.
NASCAR's Memorial Day holiday weekend of racing begins at the Charlotte Motor Speedway today with the Truck Series race. Corey Heim, the plus 175 favorite. Kyle Busch plus 185. Ross Chastain 6-1. William Byron plus 350 to win tomorrow's Xfinity Series race, while Kyle Larson is plus 550 to win the Coca-Cola 600 on Sunday. He's also 18-1 to win the Indy 500 as he attempts to do the double. How to award the 5-1 favorite to win at Indianapolis. Troy Trojans, a $2.80 favorite over Old Dominion today, plus 210, 14.5 the total in the Sun Belt Conference Baseball Tournament. Mike Sennett, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Would you call a plumber for a root canal? The same goes for selling your timberland or farm. Choose someone who understands your property and can help you on the front end so you can capitalize on the back end. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction. As a guide, I have put many hunters in position to take a shot. It's time for you to take your shot. Let's talk about putting you in position to sell your property. Call me at 256-609-0512. Remember, Bo knows land.
Is your financial advisor offering you up to a 30% upfront bonus? Are they promising you up to 10% growth per year guaranteed for your retirement income? If not, you need a new financial advisor. I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. If you plan to retire within the next 10 years, don't wait only to find out it's too late. I've seen hardworking folks like you retire only to be required to go back to work, all because their advisor told them guarantees like these were too good to be true. They're not. That's up to $30,000 upfront or up to $10,000 per year on $100,000, all guaranteed for retirement income. Don't work when you're supposed to be retired. If any financial advisor tells you it's too good to be true, they simply don't have the options we do. Call Trajan today, 256-208-9000, 256-208-9000.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor.
Ford Motor Company. From America, for America. Hi, folks. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford with a real quick quiz. Out of all the manufacturers, do you know which auto company employs the most hourly workers in America? Ford. Do you know which company assembles the most vehicles in this country? Ford. That's not just a coincidence. It's a commitment, a 120-year-old commitment to build in America for America. And during this unprecedented moment in automotive history, you stand to benefit big time. Woody Anderson Ford is now offering employee pricing. You pay what we pay. We've got over 190 F-150s for you to choose from with generous finance rates and the best deals of the year on America's best-selling truck for 48 years in a row. Employee pricing can save you thousands off MSRP, and with over 600 Fords for you to choose from, there's a good chance you'll find just exactly what you're looking for. This offer ends May 31st, so hurry in. Woody Anderson Ford.
Eagle Masonry and Insulation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Rocket City, for air that's cool and clean, contact Sensa Green Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Get HVAC smart with Professor Green and the expert team at sensagreen.com. Now offering up to $1,500 off any new Bryant system. Whatever it takes, Sensa Green has Huntsville covered. Remember, folks, with innovative, sensible green solutions, contact Sensa Green Heating, Cooling, and Insulation.
Hi, folks. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, inviting you to come test drive any one of our over 100 F-150s. From rock-solid, dependable work trucks to our state-of-the-art Platinum Series, we've got an F-150 for you. Test drive one today, and you'll understand why the F-150 is the best-selling truck in America, going on 48 years in a row. Just as successful offenses and defenses are built on teamwork, Woody Anderson Ford is powered by our people. Our sales and service teams are well trained to save you time and money. And because we want your business again and again, no one will work harder to earn it. Our mobile service teams come to your home or business for oil changes, brake work, tire rotations, and more. And the great thing is you don't pay extra for it. We come to you with mobile service at no extra charge. Proud to be local, family-owned, and at your service for over 62 years. Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore.
Your Fox 54 weather brought to you by Tellini's Italiano.
A fantastic Friday afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the mid-70s, dropping into the upper 50s as we head into the overnight. A little bit of rain is going to be possible. From there, scattered showers and thunderstorms in the forecast on Saturday. Scattered showers and thunderstorms stay in the forecast Sunday. And then as we head into your Memorial Day. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Your Fox 54 weather, only on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. And now, a man who knows what you ate for breakfast.
Now for the biggest thinker of them all.
He knows it all. He is Drew DeArmond. Listen to Drew and Scott Tyson weekday mornings. It's Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
But that trick never worked.
I feel like college football maybe thought that they were in a totally different galaxy whenever they figured out that the playoffs would be better if the seeding was the way that it is now moving forward. And we'll tell you guys about that, and you guys can join in on it. 256-576-9777 is the number to hop in. Straight seeding is here, Joe, and hopefully it's here to stay.
Well, this is something that when you saw it happen yesterday, because it happened like right after the show wrapped up, we saw that the meetings were going to take place, the phone calls were going to happen. But it was like, oh, okay, cool. That's actually smart. Like, why is it so hard to do smart things?
First smart thing I've seen from this playoff.
You know, seriously, it's like, why is it so hard to do smart things?
Golly, looking at the teams and the matchups that we would get, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Like, I don't think that there's many talking points about as far as the straight seating is concerned, because I'm thinking, wow, this makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, there shouldn't be. But now that I look back on what could have happened last year if we had the seeding correct the first time around, oh, it would have been amazing. It's not like the college football playoff committee.
Second round.
They would have.
They would have played SMU in Neyland.
Were we rushing these guys? Like, we weren't rushing them, were we, Joe? They had a whole 5 years to figure this. even more if they really thought about it.
Again, it is amazing how many times millionaires and billionaires can make some of the dumbest decisions that you've ever seen.
No, you almost said it, Joe. You almost said it.
I mean, it's some of the dumbest things ever, and these guys are supposed to be the smart people.
Second hour coming up next.
Trust fund babies up in that place.
Talk a little bit about this and more on the other side.
The new favorite place for delicious Mexican food is Coralejos Mexican Grill in Huntsville. Check out their reviews on Facebook and you'll see what people are raving about. Enjoy drink specials all day, Monday through Thursday, like house margaritas for $3.99 and 12-ounce drafts for $2. Even vegan-friendly entrees on Monday starting at $5. Coralejos Mexican Grill, 1658 Old Monrovia Road in Huntsville. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram to stay updated on their specials.
I'm here with Stan McDonald of Jacob Title. Stan, I've heard that every real estate closing at Jacob Title is a very big deal. Why is that?
Wes, I'm reminded of a very impactful statement that I heard from Coach Gene Stallings years ago when he talked about big games and little games. He said he didn't like that comparison. He says, because try losing one of those little games. And if you ever do, it ends up being the biggest game all year long. Well, it's the same thing with real estate closings. Every game, every closing is a very big deal at Jacob Title. Because when it's your closing and your contract on the line, it's a very big deal. And we understand that at Jacob Title.
So it sounds like whether your client is a first-time residential buyer or a multi-million-dollar investor, they can expect your A game.
That's exactly right. As a matter of fact, when you bring your real estate closing to us at Jacob Title, we understand it's all about trust and confidence. And when Stan McDonald tells you that a chicken dips snuff, you can look under his wing for the box.
And like Beams likes to say, there's no doubt about it.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is you need a new roof, not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
I'm here with Thomas from Talent Heating and Air. With the temperatures going up and temperatures going down right now, now is a good time to get your heating and air system looked at. Thomas, when somebody calls, you guys answer.
That's right. The phones are staffed by us. They're manned 24/7. We're ready to come out and take care of you that day.
How do they give you guys a call?
You give us a call at 256-503-4490.
And you can find you guys on the World Wide Web at
talenthvac.com.
And now is a good time to do this because you guys are offering a special deal.
That's right. We're doing $49 tune-ups this spring. We're also doing free second opinions. We offer that year-round. Somebody comes out, they say you got a back compressor, leaking refrigerant. Give us a call, see if we can save you some money.
Thomas from Talent Heating and Air. Thomas, one more time, that phone number.
256-503-4490.
AL certain number 21014.
What does it mean to be a part of the Southeastern Conference? That you scheduled your wedding and even your child's birth around your school's game? Of course. But it means more than that. It means you're home to hundreds of Fulbright, Truman, Goldwater, and Rhodes Scholars. It means starting out as the birthplace of American public higher education, and now leading the way in unmanned spacecraft. This is the SEC, and here it just means more.
Buying that perfect home is one of the most important financial decisions you'll ever make. So it's crucial that you have the right partner to help you through the process. Hi, I'm Stuart Evans, mortgage loan officer for Bryant Bank, and I'm here to tell you that we are that partner. We offer a variety of mortgage products to fit your unique home buying situation in a changing rate environment. That kind of hassle-free approach might not be what you'd expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give me a call today or visit me at our downtown Huntsville office and let me show you what banking beyond expectation is all about.
Bryant Bank Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID 2428943, member FDIC.
This is Brent Musburger's VSIN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Drivers who switch to Progressive have an annual savings of nearly $750. Progressive.com.
NASCAR's Memorial Day holiday weekend of racing begins at the Charlotte Motor Speedway today with the Truck Series race. Corey Heim, the plus 175 favorite. Kyle Busch plus 185. Ross Chastain 6-1. William Byron plus 350 to win tomorrow's Xfinity Series race, while Kyle Larson is plus 550 to win the Coca-Cola 600 on Sunday. He's also 18-1 to win the Indy 500 as he attempts to do the double. That will award the 5-1 favorite to win at Indianapolis. Troy Trojans, a $2.80 favorite over Old Dominion today, plus 210, 14.5 the total in the Sun Belt Conference Baseball Tournament. Mike Sennett, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Your Fox 54 weather brought to you by Tellini's Italiano.
A fantastic Friday afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the mid-70s, dropping into the upper 50s as we head into the overnight. A little bit of rain is going to be possible. From there, scattered showers and thunderstorms in the forecast on Saturday. Scattered showers and thunderstorms stay in the forecast Sunday. And then as we head into your Memorial Day. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Your Fox 54 weather only on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Joe Hunk, John Abraham, 256-576-4977. Welcome to the Blitz.
This is what I normally say, second hour, final hour, best hour on 97.7 ESPN The Zone and WCCN TV. Joe Hunt, John Abraham, and the Blitz coming at you as we continue on this Friday morning
marathon.
Yes, where you can always know that we are brought to you by Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
The guys you need to talk to about all of your roofing needs. If you're having any roofing problems, make sure you look them up online, FlemingHSV.com. Fill out your free quote today, and remember that Fleming always shows up. I thought you were about to set up the phone lines, which those would be 256-576-97.7. And I see why you didn't do the final hour, best hour thingy, because it's not. We have a marathon this Friday.
There's two of the three things that I normally say during that open that are true. This is the second hour.
It is.
And this could be the best hour.
Maybe.
But it's not the final hour because this is only the second of 4 hours for John and myself, where the Blitz after party is going to be going on starting at noon today because we are going to be taking over the Tom Abraham show.
Is it a party? I feel like we got to kind of calm down a little bit when we're on Tom's show, but he trusts us. He trusts us with it.
No.
So we might as well take it and run with it and also just collect all of his Nashville listeners and just compile them over on our social media, which you guys can go and follow right now, 97.7 ESPN on X
or
Twitter.
At Joe Hunk or at John Abraham ESPN.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that would be one thing to do. Just continue to self-promo ourselves.
That's what we're supposed to do.
Are we?
Yeah, that's part of it.
I thought we were just voices for a bigger meaning.
No, we're also supposed to be talking about that stuff, building our social media.
Okay.
Normally, I'm a lot more energetic than what I am right now, but right now I'm really just trying to not get too high with the octaves because if I do, then I start coughing. And then it's not good whatsoever. This is a thing, but
don't want to get too high.
Not only is today the SEC tournament as it continues, not only does Super Regional play continue as well, it is also Ronald Acuna Day.
There you go.
Because
mark it on your calendars.
Ronald Acuna Jr. is set to be activated tonight and will make his 2025 debut for the Atlanta Braves against the San Diego Padres. So now we don't even need to talk about what happened in Washington. It's not even worry about that. It's Ronald Acuna Day. That's what the focus is.
Well, I'm still thinking about how big of a deal we made the Braves being over 500 was, and now they're back under 500. So, there's that. But at the same time, with Ronald Acuna back, this is definitely going to help out the lineup. I'm very excited to see it. I don't think he's going to fall right back into play and just be like that top guy on the team. But I think give him this series and he'll be back on the top of this lineup. I think that it doesn't take much to get Ronald Acuna back in the swing of things.
Tonight. You bet him lead off. The moment the Braves get through the first inning, you let him take that standing ovation whenever he walks out and he's the first batter.
Oh, he'll feel the energy.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and do that. I mean, again, if you're talking a movie, then he hits a bomb. That would be kind of cool. But it is Ronald Acuna Day. He is back from the ACL. He says that he is going to be playing smarter, so we will see how much smarter he is actually going to be.
Yeah, we'll see about that. He's kind of like us in the way that he goes balls to the wall almost every single day.
Yeah, it's literally like it's all gas, no brakes.
Yep,
for him. So I'm going to be kind of curious to see if that's something that's going to be kind of taking place.
No doubt. And you might have missed out. The listeners might have missed out on some of the Braves if you haven't been able to listen to it because, of course, we've had the SEC tournament. But going off of Friday against the Red Sox, they were able to win 4-2. They lost one of those, and then they finished off the Red Sox 10-4. And then the last 2 days, they've been back playing the Nationals, this time in Washington. And they lost both of those ones straight, which got them back under 500. But now they're going up against the San Diego Padres. Thank God we're not going to San Diego, though, Joe.
No, screw San Diego. Screw Ron Burgundy. Screw the Chargers. Screw all of that. San Diego State, every bit of it. There's only one thing that's good in San Diego, and that's the Marines. Outside of that, screw the rest of it.
Well,
I hate that city.
We can say it with some confidence right now, Joe, because the Padres have been terrible in their last 6 games. They've lost all 6 of them to the Blue Jays and the Mariners. It has not looked good. And
good teams.
One of those included a 14 14-run shutout by the Blue Jays just 2 days ago. So hopefully the Padres stay on that bad slate and the Braves can maybe get 3 real quick wins. But at the same time, I don't know if that's even possible. Seeing the Padres lose 3 more games in a row would be kind of crazy. So let's just hope for 2 and maybe just win the series and move forward. So how about that? I can rest assured.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. And then we can also listen to Braves baseball because by the end of this weekend, you're going to be able to listen to them. I mean, the SEC tournament's going to be over, and it's crazy that it just went in and by just like a flash, similar to last year's football season, which we were talking about the playoffs just a little bit. The new straight seeding is being implemented, and we don't have to wait for it, Joe.
Look, and again, I'm so curious as to like when we're ever talking about things, I always say, all right, well, what's the angle? What's the way that we're going to be discussing this? Like, why is this important? And I honestly look at it and I just think to myself, wow, you guys actually did something that makes sense. Why is that? Well, why can't you do more things that make sense? Because again, just doing the seeding based on 1 through 16 or 1 through 12 or 1 through 64, that all just makes sense.
It does.
Like you look at the NCAA basketball tournament, just because a team wins their conference championship, they're not automatically one of the top 20 teams. We've got 32 automatic bids. It doesn't mean that all the teams that win their conference championship is going to be 1 through 32. It just makes sense.
I think.
Why did we want to do something dumb?
I think it was the first time that we saw college football kind of throw a pity party, give a little bit of love to some of those lower teams, some of those group of 5 teams, and really just it ended up hurting them in the long run. This year, though, moving forward, it's going to be better games. It's going to be better venues, and I'm all here for
first
it.
round will be better.
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, well, that's the one problem is they still haven't implemented just home field.
See, that's another part. If I'm one of the top 4 teams, I get games taken away from me.
Yes.
Why
but
do I want that?
There's a reason behind it. There's a flip side. Last year, pity party for those smaller teams being in the top 4. Arizona State shouldn't have been there. Boise State shouldn't have been there. But at the same time, you give them some love. You test it out. You see how it goes. Didn't go well. Having the big venues is where the money comes from. That is a lot of money coming in from those venues, from the concessions. You get more fans in there. It's great. Well, actually, you don't get more fans in there. But regardless, this year, though, if we're looking at the model that's coming, the straight seed model, compared to last year, what we would have gotten is Clemson versus Notre Dame. First things first, I love this matchup.
Then it would have been 13 years in a row if they played each other.
I would have loved this matchup. I don't think Notre Dame would actually get past a Clemson team that was riding hot at the point that they were last year. I think Clemson would have beat them and gone on to play Penn State, which I think would also be a wonderful matchup. Way better than Penn State versus Boise State. I mean, come on. What are we thinking? Indiana versus Boise State would have been the first matchup we get to watch. Great. We get to actually see Boise State Stadium in the college playoffs. I think this would have been amazing. We talked about it. We said it would be great. It never got to happen because you put Boise State as a top 4 seed. Already 2 spectacular matchups. How about Tennessee versus SMU? 2 very mobile quarterbacks going up against 2 gritty-looking teams. One of them's SEC. One of them's ACC. You could say what you will, say that SMU probably shouldn't have been in the postseason in the first place, but I think this matchup would have been amazing compared to what we got in Penn State versus SMU.
Well, it was also, again, it goes to the trend that we talked about and not talk about with every game. It was the very first game out the gate.
Mm-hmm.
We had never had a college football playoff game ever. And you had SMU Penn State as the very first one. You never want to be the first game out the gate. You never do. Something bad's always going to happen. And for SMU, they actually didn't play bad offensively.
No.
It was just like, once they got within the 10s.
Their defense also really couldn't stop anything.
10-1, that was bad. But the other, 90 yards, they were good. But once they got into that 10-yard line, I went to crap then.
Closes their options, and being a mobile quarterback in that scenario is a little bit more predictable. But I scratched what I said. Indiana would have been that host team against Boise State, but regardless.
Oh, God, now you got to go to Indiana.
Yeah, no, I mean, regardless. Well, we got to anyway with Notre Dame. Then we would have had Ohio State versus Arizona State. This one would have been the only matchup that I don't think would have lived up to expectations. But at the same time, Arizona State did surprise a lot of people. The way that they were able to play Texas.
Scatterboo.
Very impressive. Well, the way that Scatterboo was able to play up against Texas was really, really fun. But whoever wins that game is going on to play Texas. So Ohio State, Texas, right there. It feels like the national championship. Bada bing, bada boom. If Tennessee wins against SMU, they're playing Georgia. SEC magic right there. Whoever wins that Indiana versus Boise State game, Oregon. I don't know. I would have been an iffy one. But that right there seems so much more appealing than what we got. And who knows? We might get even better teams this upcoming year. And maybe the committee will make less mistakes.
Well, and I think that a lot of this also comes down to where this playoff needs to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, the seeding thing, I don't think there's anybody that can complain about it because it just makes sense. Like there's not another tournament in the world that you would sit and think about and go, you know what? Let's do it this way. I mean, when you're talking about
let's do it wrong.
Well, and even if you wanted to make it where the like they do in NCAA, or I should say the NFL, or even if the way that they do it with the Major League Baseball, where the division leaders actually get like home field advantage and that sort of thing. Okay, let's do that then. If you win the conference and you're the conference champion over playing and you're an at-large team, then why do we have to go to the at-large place? Why can't we go to the conference champion? Like that would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, the seeding doesn't change, but then let's go ahead and reward the one that actually won their conference championship. But then again, you also then get to go to the Cotton Bowl, the Orange Bowl, the Rose Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl. And I know how excited we all are for those bowl games.
So excited.
It's so garbage. It is absolutely garbage. I think that would have been a bigger story outside the seeding. Like we are excited that it makes a lot more sense to do straight seeding because it does. But if you would have actually taken away all of the bowl sites and you would have had, name one of the matchups that you just mentioned, the Ohio State, Boise State, or Ohio State, Arizona State?
Arizona State, yeah.
Okay, Ohio State, Arizona State, which will be playing each other. Let's say it's going to be at, where would that game would have been?
It would have been Ohio State.
All right, would have been at Ohio State, brought to you by whoever sponsors the Rose Bowl. There you go.
Vizio. It used to be Vizio. Yeah. I don't remember.
I don't know where it is.
It's like Red Crest. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, just like you go with that. There's your sponsorship. There's all your advertising. There's every bit of it. You don't lose it. And to be quite honest with you, I don't think that enough people actually care about the stupid sunset the way that the Rose Bowl thinks they do. I don't watch a football game to go, oh, that beautiful sunset right there. That is majestic. It's the only reason I'm watching this. I don't care.
Just flip it over to HGTV if you're doing that.
I just don't care.
Yeah. Well, one guy that might care, no, he doesn't. He only cares about what's on the field, and that's all we care about as well, is Drudy Armond from Talking Ball. And yeah, you might have heard a recording this earlier today? It was the best stuff. It was a very entertaining week for the Talking Ball boys. But Drew will be joining us live, maybe in studio. He said that he would be. So we'll see about that. But yeah, he'll be talking a little bit about this, but more about the college baseball that's going on right now in Hoover, because things are getting even more interesting as the days go on. So stick with us as we continue on this Friday marathon for the Blitz. John Abraham, Joe Hunk. We'll be right back here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone, and WZZN TV.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, if you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself.
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Hey folks, Bob Baumhauer here. We're extremely proud that Baumhauer's Victory Grill has been serving Alabama for 43 legendary years. Our motto is legendary fun, legendary food, and we strive to make every dining experience a special one for all of our guests. Our menu features delicious, always fresh and scratch-made in-house recipes. And of course, our award-winning wings and sauces. And don't forget, our happy hour and halftime daily specials cannot be beat. Baumhauer's Victory Grill, legendary fun, legendary food.
Tom Abraham here for Valley Equipment Rental. You know, if you're a contractor installing fences, you need Valley Equipment Rental for augers of all sizes. And if you need a forklift to get those shingles up high on a roof, Valley Equipment has 10K lifts that reach to 56 feet. Valley also has tow-behind lifts that have a working height of 35 to 55 feet as well for power washing those two-story homes or doing whatever else you need to do. Lifts, forklifts, tow-behind lifts, 35 feet and up. They have your lift at Valley Equipment Rental. 2 locations, North and South Parkway. Valley Equipment Rental.
You don't have to go somewhere else just so you can go somewhere new. Plan your next vacation with Huntsville International Airport and Breeze Airways. Enjoy friendly, convenient, nonstop travel to some of the most exciting destinations in the U.S., including the home of iconic casinos, world-class shows, dining, and entertainment. Las Vegas. With flights starting as low as just $79, Breeze has got you covered with easy, breezy, nonstop flights to Las Vegas. Book nonstop to Las Vegas now at flybreeze.com.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey, Wes. Our company, Fleming Roofing and Restoration, specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a 5th-generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it, or we can replace it.
You guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10 plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey, Wes, we show up.
The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
This is Steve Moulton for Tellini's Italiano. Tellini's Italiano is located right in front of the Walmart, right off of University, behind the McDonald's. More or less catty corner from Topgolf. It's one of my favorite places to go to, and if you go there, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, you need to try the baked spaghetti, add a meatball. Also try the baked ziti with meat sauce, add sausage. You'll thank me. Save room for some pizzas and paninis as well. And don't forget about dessert as well. The best cheesecake I have had here in North Alabama is at Tellini's Italiano. Find out for yourself today. That's Tellini's Italiano, right off of University Drive in front of the Walmart. Located online at Tellinis.com. That's TELLINIS.com. Let's get some Tellini's tonight.
The Atlanta Braves.
3-2. Swung on, ground ball up the middle. Let's go for a ride. Here comes Eli. Across the plate standing. Braves win. Never gets old, does it?
All season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Who run it? Who run it? Who run it? Who run it? Who run it?
Happy Ronald Cunha Day.
Woo! Who run it?
He run it. Let's just hope he runs it cautiously, okay? That's all we want. So we can run it cautiously. That's it. Welcome back into the Blitz, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone, WCCN TV. Always brought to you by Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Let's talk a little bit, shall we? I can only breathe through my mouth right now.
Yeah.
So normally I have to like take a pause, a longer pause than normal, just to breathe for a second.
You a mouth breather.
I am a mouth breather.
Now this is not a. Is this another allergy thing, or
this is
just a cold from your son thing, right? Yeah. Because I know your son missed the last few days of school.
Yeah, he did. He got sick, and so I mean, like my wife,
that's just inevitable,
he's
man.
taking care of the girl, so I take care of him.
Right.
So I get sick.
Yeah,
so
that's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, you might be sick, but I don't think anybody's sick of this SEC tournament because it is a lot of fun. And we've been talking a little bit. We talked with Ryan Sylvia from thevolreport.com.
Great comeback.
Yeah, it was a good one, and it was a good game all the way to the end. But I see 12 innings, and I think to myself, I would be a little bit worried about, my starters, but Tennessee did a really good job handling the bullpen, and they only threw out 4, and really you only used 3 of them. And Drew, I know you've been following this thing all the way through on Talking Ball, a lot of good conversations, but so far, so good. How do you feel about this tournament?
Well, I mean, it's, for the most part, yesterday was the first time we had it go off script a little bit, with one of the heavyweight 4, one of those double buys going home without winning a game. That's the Texas Longhorns, who won the regular season by 2 games. But I give Tennessee a lot of credit. When they were down 4-0, I thought they were going to be in deep trouble because of that pitching staff of Texas. But they scrapped, and they took advantage of some Texas mistakes as well. You can't against these high-level teams, that's kind of what it comes down to in postseason college baseball, man. You can't make mistakes. You can't walk people, hit batters, and you can't botch, tailor-made double plays, which is what Texas did, which gave Tennessee their first 2 runs, which kind of gave them life. And then the next half inning, they tied at 4. And then before you know it, you just mentioned it, John, it's a 12-inning marathon. Now, I'll give Texas credit because when the Vols got the extra inning homer in the 10th, I thought the game was over. I thought, okay, they finally broke through here. They got the lead for the first time. They'll close the deal. But Tennessee made a mistake themselves to let them back in. And they were very fortunate, after that throwaway on the pickoff, to not give up, just lose the game, because I thought that might be start an avalanche where they end up losing it on a walk-off. But they found a way to get out of it. And then, the Texas closers, the freshman of the year in the league, and I'll just give Tennessee credit. You can tell how good a hitting team they are, because against Alabama through BP, they squared everything up. And, and Joe played college baseball. He knows what I'm talking about when they're barreling everything. and they're hitting everything hard. And, to Tennessee's credit, I believe the final tally, and this is pretty amazing. And this is what would, if I were a Texas fan, this is what would worry me about them in the regionals and the supers. I believe Tennessee struck out 18 batters in the 12 innings. You're swinging and missing a lot. You're not putting it in play. And Tennessee's putting the ball in play. They're very dangerous right now. That's going to be a really fascinating game because both Vandy and Tennessee get a day off today. And so we know how much they love each other. And they're going to be playing on Saturday in one of those semifinals. Then the other two today will be decided. Auburn, tough one yesterday. They didn't swing the bats real well. They got the two solo home runs. But the thing, the guy you really feel for is Lavalette from Texas A&M. I mean, Jace Lavalette. I mean, he gets drilled in the hand and it's broken. They confirmed after the game. I mean, but if you saw the cast they had put on him, you kind of figured that was the case. He's going to very likely be out for the rest of the season unless he's pinch running. And what the hell good does that do? Because I mean, he's their leading home run and RBI guy. And I think he's the all-time leader in bombs in Texas A&M history, and he's in the top 3 or 4 in RBIs. So you're not going to have him. And really, that's the story for A&M, and that's what might give Michael Early another year. They've lost like 3 or 4 of their best hitters. The middle of their lineup is decimated. So I'll be honest, I don't know how they're going to beat LSU tonight. I would think it'd probably finally be over for them. This will be the first time we've seen the Tigers. But right now, A&M's 2 wins away from ruining some brackets, and that's what they're focusing on and just trying to survive. But LSU's loaded, so I would favor LSU heavily tonight. And then I really think the Arkansas-Ole Miss game's a toss-up. But if you had to ask me, okay, Drew, who do you like? I think I like Arkansas because, I don't know how whether it's Chris Lee, Mark Etheridge, Joe Healy. We've talked to a lot of people this week. Pretty much the consensus is if Arkansas brings their best, they're the best team in the league. So I would say I would take Arkansas, LSU, Vandy, Tennessee, and that's a hell of a Final Four, guys. I mean, that would be your 2 semifinals on Saturday. Then you decided on Sunday. And then if you're Alabama right now, your metrics say you should host. You won 17 SEC games. Your RPI is 11. Your strength of schedule is really good. But we don't know how the committee is going to react to super conferences, which is basically what the SEC is. To me, I don't know what you guys' opinion is on this, but I don't think you should penalize the SEC for being so much better than everybody else. Now, do I think all 13, because I think Kentucky is the 13th, should get in as far as if A&M loses in the next day or two? Yes, but they all shouldn't be hosts. But I think the top 9, you can make a very strong argument for it. You can still have your Oregons and your Oregon States and even a UCLA. But I'm sorry, you notice that I mentioned a couple of those. They're in the Big Ten. You can't compare the 2 leagues. It's just not a comparison. And I thought Rob Vaughn, when they lost, to Tennessee, he brought up a good point. He's like, I don't even know why we're having this conversation. He goes, but I've been on the other side. And I didn't understand until I coached in the league. I was at Maryland, and I used to think, well, if you're at 500 in the SEC or a game or 2 under, why are you even talking about hosting? Until I had to coach in this conference, and then you see how deep it is. So I just think – and you look at Tennessee. Look, this is a Tennessee team that at one time was 20-0, and they were number 1 in the country. And I think they were 9-1 in their first 10 SEC games. And coming into the tournament, they had lost 6 of their last 7 series. But now you see how they're playing. But they're that talented. So, and I think a lot of it is because of the competition in the league. And so that's why I'm going to be fascinated to see how these SEC teams do once they break away. I mean, and then of course, I think some mid-majors, and I call them that, but like Coastal Carolina, Southern Mississippi, like whoever wins. We talked to Joe Healy yesterday. He was over at Riverwalk watching some of the Sun Belt. If it's Coastal or Southern Miss, I think one of them should host if they win it, the conference tournament. Probably the other one should be a 2 seed you don't want to see. But I think the winner, if it's one of those 2 teams, should host. And by the way, Alabama beat both those teams. So there you go. So it's some high-level SEC baseball. It's one of my favorite weeks of the year. And You know, I'll freely admit I was running out of gas last night. I did fall.
Same.
I fell asleep before the end of the last game, the Vandy game. I did turn it back on to make sure there was no epic collapse. But you shout out to Vandy, good pitching performance. Oklahoma, good run under Skip Johnson. They got 2 wins. But I'll just be honest, it's going to be very, very difficult going forward, fellas, with the way this draw is going to be getting that from now on. And by the way, I like it. I like that every team gets a chance to go. But it's going to be very difficult for teams that got to play on Tuesday and win 5 in a row.
I'll tell you, I don't know what it is. Texas A&M has got to be just – what deal did they make that they're being punished about? Because Laviolette got injured yesterday.
Yeah.
And I've been sitting over here for like the last 10 minutes trying to figure out who it was because I know they had an injury again last year. It was Braden Montgomery that got injured in the Super Regionals.
The Stanford transfer,
yeah, exactly. When they were taking on Oregon, and Texas A&M still made it to the national championship game. But I'm just thinking to myself, like, why does this team always have a key injury to a major player on this team?
It's just really interesting. And it opened the door for Jeff Kent's son to get in the lineup last year when he did well. And he actually, to tie this all together, he hit the 3-run bomb yesterday that ended up beating Auburn. But again, I'll just say this. If you're Auburn, you still have locked up a host. You may have, and according to D1 Baseball, they still locked up a top 8 national seed. You know, you're not going to feel totally bad about not winning a game because you get to rest your guys. I don't think it's a disaster by any stretch of the imagination. Even for Alabama as well. I mean, Riley Quick, you get to rest him up. You get to rest Tyler Fay. You wouldn't have pitched Fay again anyway. Zane Adams didn't pitch well out of the bullpen, but he'll be rested. So losing early is not necessarily a bad thing. So matter of fact, they were talking about this last night, 2023, Vanderbilt won it.
Yep.
And they were so exhausted that they hosted their own regional and they got put out in 2 games. They went 0-2 barbecue. That's the late Mike Martin. Shout out to him's term. As they got put out by, I believe, Xavier in Oregon, put out Vanderbilt, in Nashville. So that there's 2 sides to both of them. I mean, you can get hot and win it all. Tennessee did both last year. They won the SEC tournament and then they won the national championship. They were that good. But sometimes, you fall short because the 2 years before that, Tennessee ran roughshod through the league and the SEC tournament and then lost in the Supers to Notre Dame and Lincoln Jarrett, who's now the head coach at Florida State. So, baseball is the funniest game. And to me, it's the hardest to predict because Joe just mentioned it, the injuries. Like, Texas A&M has been decimated in their lineup by injuries. And, they still made the national championship series last year, were 1 win away, even without Braden Montgomery to show you how deep they are.
It's crazy also because looking back at Braden Montgomery's career, he got drafted by the Red Sox right after that. He was 12th overall draft pick in last year's draft.
Right.
Then in December, the man got traded to the Chicago White Sox. Like, who did you piss off? Yeah. Because you get traded from the Boston Red Sox to the worst team in Major League Baseball in there. But at the moment right now, he's in high A ball batting .320.
And also the White Sox aren't the worst team currently.
Well, and
it's the Rockies. It's the Rockies. My bad.
Historically, bad.
The Rockies.
But you're a baseball guy, Joe. Don't forget the same thing pretty much happened with Dansby Swanson.
Yo, no, he did.
Yeah. And that was a good move by the Atlanta Braves. They were able to get him in that trade, and he had many good years with Atlanta. And I hate that Lieutenant Dan is with the Cubs now, but I mean, hey, that's the finances of the situation. But he helped him win a World Series, and he was a great, great player for Vanderbilt. And it's just unusual to see because usually, especially Dansby, I mean, I believe he was either the first or the second pick of the draft. I think it was first overall pick, and he didn't spend very long, before he was dealt. And the Braves were smart; they went and got him, and so there you go. And but I mean, I will say this in baseball parlance. Draft choices aren't as valuable as a guy you think you're going to get now to win.
Oh, absolutely, because you don't know what they're going to do.
Because you never know. No. You never know how good a guy is going to be. Now you can speculate and everything like that, but for every Chipper Jones, I'll bring out. You guys were very young when this happened, but there's a Todd Van Poppel who was supposed to be a can't miss guy out of high school. He was supposed to go number 1. He wanted too much money. He went down in the draft. Oakland had a really good organization back in those days, They snagged him with the 14th pick. Everybody thought, oh my God, they got Todd Van Poppel. And no, he never, he got into the big leagues, but he never became what people thought, which was to be a top of the rotation 1 or 2.
Yeah, Dansby was drafted in the 2015 draft, and then in December 9th of 2015, he was traded with Ender Inciarte,
pretty much the same thing.
Aaron Blair to the Braves in exchange for Shelby Miller and Gabe Spear or something like that.
And Shelby Miller was good, but he never became. See, the Diamondbacks at the time, I think, thought he was going to be a 1 or a 2, and the Braves liked him, but was like, nah, I think we can take the chance. We don't think he's that good. And so they traded him and I thought it was a brilliant trade. And Inciarte, his bat went dead after a few years, but he was a really good outfielder and was a good hitter for a while before everything went. But Dansby ended up being a good player. So It ended up being, worth it.
Yeah, looking back at that draft, Dansby was drafted number 1 overall to Arizona, and he would eventually get traded to the Braves. Kobe Allard was the Braves' first pick, and now he was drafted number 14 overall. Then in the compensatory round, they drafted Mike Soroka. Soroka was good until the injuries, and he's trying to get back. But
that was so weird, too, when we were in Atlanta the other day. The game before, Soroka had started for the Nationals against the Braves, which is just totally weird because he did spend a short period of time with the Nationals. Yes. But, yes, I mean, the Achilles injuries just really set him back.
Yeah, the Kobe Allard one, he's now with the Cleveland Guardians.
He is. Now, at one time, I think he was with the Rangers at one time.
He was with the Rangers because the Braves traded him in 2019. They traded him to Texas on that.
Well, on top of the SEC tournament and everything you guys are getting into, there's also the ASUN tournament that's going on right now. And we got the North Alabama facing off against the Jacksonville. And right now it's 1-0. These teams have seen each other already. Drew, I know you've been focusing a little bit on this as well. Talk a little bit about what you know on this North Alabama squad and how far they're able to go in this tournament.
Well, I know this. They've made history this year. It's the first time they've ever won a game in the conference tournament. Mm-hmm. So shout out to them for still being alive. They're slowly building their program back up. Mike Lane for many, many years where they were a really good Division II program and were a powerhouse. And so, a lot of times you can ask Jack State this because Jim Case finally got them on even ground because Rudy Abbott was had one of the best Division II programs ever. They won national championships, but it takes a while to recruit and get your facilities up to par and get really good players and get into regionals and stuff of that nature. But the biggest key for UNA is their stadium is nearly complete.
Yes. It's gonna be a nice stadium.
Yeah. They don't have all their seating and they got some temporary bleachers and stuff, but I'm sure by next spring it's going to be complete. And Josh Looney and the people at UNA, that's going to be huge because that allows you, especially with the transfer portal now, whether they're coming to you or whether it allows you to sign better junior college players or high school players that maybe now they may play well and move up themselves away from your program. But regardless, programs like in college baseball, I think I think it benefits them more than it does football because I think the high school player, while he may not get to go to an SEC school right out of high school, you may get to go to UNA and play in the ASUN. And let's be honest, guys, the JUCO system is still very valuable in college baseball. Absolutely. Skip Johnson, they were talking about how he was a junior college coach, and then moved up to Oklahoma. He still values junior college recruiting. But the thing about it is this opens up a lot of opportunities for kids to play. And then you have even more options, like say a kid goes to JUCO because there's not really a prep school in baseball. You could go to JUCO. You might go to UNA and you can keep moving up. You might even go D3 and move all the way up to a Division I school. But there's a lot of opportunities in college baseball. And UNA, this was sorely needed. I mean, let's be honest. They needed to upgrade their facilities and making a run in the Sun Belt Conference tournament and the Atlantic Sun and stuff like that for schools of that nature. That's huge because it allows them to prove to recruits and kids, hey, we're competing, we're beating these teams, we're beating schools like this in the Atlantic Sun. So come to UNA. And by the way, come see our brand new stadium. That's, state of the art now. They're going to have a brand new football stadium. So to me, it's a good time to be a UNA Lion. And shout out to Tony Pujols too, who they had they did have their best year in Division I this year. They lost in the conference tournament finals to Lipscomb. Now, unfortunately, that led to Jakari Lane bumping up to Texas A&M. But I think Tony Pujols understands that, and they're in the process of putting together a true organization, hiring a general manager, making that next step to try to compete year in and year out. So I think UNA, and I think Dr. Josh Looney especially, was a really good hire, and I think they've done a really nice job. And I hope they continue to compete and win. And like I said, that the ASUN and the Sun Belt Conference, both of them are good leagues. And most of the time you're going to be a 4 seed coming out of there into a baseball regional, but hey, that don't mean you can't win.
No, it definitely don't.
I've seen it many times. And so especially in a 1-4 matchup where the one might decide to not throw their ace and hold their ace out for game 2, sometimes that can be dangerous. So
the dynamics of this new baseball stadium is so unique.
Talking about UNA.
With UNA, because one, they have a short porch down the left field line, but what they did is they have a high wall. Don't know exactly how tall it's going to be. It looks anywhere between like 20 and 30 feet. So it's almost like a green monster, that type deal. If you hit one as a home run in center field, you're hitting it basically onto the football field.
Wow. Well, and Vandy's facilities are like that.
Oh, yeah. Vandy's, you hit a foul ball.
Packed,
I would say you would hit a Vandy fan in the football stadium, but you're not going to.
Well, and let's also give them a shout out. They're finally upgrading their facility. It's been going on.
They're going like suites, 2-tier type stuff. Like they're going next level.
It's a good aesthetic.
What they're doing.
Because it was really kind of bizarre, and it's the biggest win in their program's history. I still say last year beating Alabama, but being there with all the construction still ongoing and only being like 28,000 people, you just look around. You're so used to all these cathedrals in the SEC, and I was looking around. I was like, whoa. I was like, this is really, really weird.
It's really small.
It's a different vibe. And I remember going to a game way back. I think it was 2013. It was against Tennessee. And I will say one thing. Even though everybody's got their own connections to the communities within Bryant-Denny, or if you go to Mississippi State, you have that bond with a lot of the fans that go to every single one of these home games. But it does feel a little bit different at Vandy when it's a smaller environment. And you were next to the same person almost every single weekend that they're at home.
And I was talking about the baseball stadium, the renovations that they're doing to that, because they're doing it to the football stadium, but they're also adding like these party decks and stuff at the Vanderbilt baseball stadium, like, because they can't go out because they're kind of landlocked with the way the roads are in Nashville. So they're having to go up. Yeah. And so it looks pretty cool with what they're doing.
It is in Nashville, and it's a party environment in Nashville. And even though it's one of those,
a party deck onto their green monster.
You gotta have the parties. You gotta have the
That's
parties
a home run day.
in Nashville, even though it's Vanderbilt. But it's still interesting. And for North Alabama, going back to that, the Lions, they've had a sprinkling of SEC opponents throughout the year.
Oh, they
haven't won any of them, but they've gotten close.
But they played Mississippi State, but I think State canceled the last game because they didn't want to affect their RPI, which I thought was.
Come on.
I mean, you're not going to be a 1 anyway. So, I mean, try to get a dub, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I don't understand. Like, if you lose it, you're not going to be knocked out or anything. I kind of felt bad for UNA there, but UNA's played Alabama, Mississippi State. Sometimes they play Vandy.
Had a whole series against LSU early on.
Yeah.
And they've kept it close, and I love that. It's competitive.
And I've already heard players, and Scott and I have been up there. UNA has been very kind to us to let us talk to a lot of their coaches in their athletic department, and kids mentioned that, like, well, when they called me and I transferred here, they said they were going to play the SEC school, so that gives me a chance to compete against teams at the highest level, try to make a name for myself, get on a draft board or whatever. So again, UNA athletics is definitely on the right track. And before we wrap up too. Yesterday kind of was the end of the school year in Huntsville, Madison County, everywhere. We kind of talked about it on Talking Ball. School's out, graduation's done, all this kind of stuff. And I want to give a shout out to the Magnificent Seven. For me, that's Huntsville High. They had 7 dudes from the basketball team make that walk. 5 of them are about to start their journeys. And I mean, Now they want you on campus by early June, even late May in some regards. They're going to start their journeys on the college level. But, first of all, I'll give a shout out, to the two guys that didn't play a ton, but were great great kids. And one of them, his father's a great sponsor to our station, Brian Bellamy. Nathan Bellamy going to Harding University in Arkansas. I only half joke with him. I call him Dr. Bellamy all the time.
Yeah, kid's brilliant.
Dude's got like a 35 ACT, brilliant kid. I think he wants to go into more like research as far as being a doctor, but I said, hey man, you may end up being our team doctor one day. You never know.
Yeah.
Like what path you may take.
My wife's in research, man. There's a lot of room that you can grow in research, man.
Shout out to him. Nunu Baker going to Alabama A&M, man. Great kid, backup guard for us. Competed his butt off. Such a good dude. Congratulations to him for graduating. And then, of course, the rest of the Magnificent Seven, those five. You'd hardly see five guys all in the starting lineup going to play college basketball. Of course, we know about Eli Stapler and what the Stapler family means to this station and to myself and everyone in our community with his grandfather, Ronnie Stapler, Hall of Famer, that announced his retirement on our station. Scott Stapler worked with us so closely. Eli is going to go to Lee University, the Flames, and be in the Gulf South Conference. Probably going to go into the medical field. Brilliant kid, great competitor. Love him. And then Braden Rivers, he graduated yesterday. He's going to UNC Asheville, a beautiful city. Now, a city that was affected by all the flooding and the hurricane and everything, but I think they're bouncing back. Mike Morrell's done a great job with that program. Congrats to Braden, certainly. And then Josh Bowman going to the NIT champion Chattanooga Mocs. His first cousin is Caleb Harrison, who's already at Samford. So shout out to him in starting his journey. And then, of course, the two D1 guys, and as far as the probably the most high profile, Simon Walker going to Auburn to play for a Final Four program. Great opportunity to play for Bruce Pearl and what they've got going on there. They believed in him since he was a 10th grader. And then, of course, my guy, Riggs, a.k.a. J.D. Gossett, going to play for the Great Linear Cup and with his former teammate Caleb Harrison at Samford. All those dudes, mean a lot to me, and they meant so much to Huntsville basketball. I mean, sometimes things don't work out, but, I had somebody send me a message this morning. It was very apropos. He sent me a picture of Dan Marino. He goes, sometimes a great player doesn't win a championship.
Right.
And sometimes a great team doesn't. But that Huntsville team was 32-2. They were the second best team in the state of Alabama to Hoover, who went 33-0, I believe, 35-0, something around there. They were undefeated, but they won their third straight 7A state title. And so a shout out, to those dudes and to what they meant to Huntsville basketball, and to one more, because she's going to actually walk the stage. Is today the 23rd? Because my mind is fried because we've had so much. But she's going to officially walk today, and she's been on our show 3 times. I mean, Joe, you became very familiar with him as well. Yes. But I can't emphasize enough, what Ace Austin meant to the state of Alabama. I know they're not in North Alabama, but they're 2 hours away. But what she and her senior class did this year, being a 1A school, and you went to a smaller school.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You went to New Hope, which is a great, very tight-knit community still. But when you are so good and as a team that you could, in my opinion, win 1 through 6A in girls high school basketball this year within the state of Alabama, probably the only classification you're not going to win 7A. That is a very special group of young women, and they're all going to be graduating today. But I just wanted to read off something, and I'll give a shout out to Brandon Pilcher from Pilcher's Properties. He sent me this stuff, and I knew about it, and I'm wearing a shirt, by the way, just to give a shout out to those young ladies, because again, sometimes I know the women's athletics feels a little slighted, because they don't get as much coverage. But think about this with what Ace Austin did as an individual. She led her team. She's went on the varsity since she was in 7th grade, which was in 2020. She won state titles in 20, 23, 24, 25. We've already talked about the three-peat. She's the first 2-time Miss Basketball ever in the state of Alabama the last 2 years. Last 2 years, Gatorade State Player of the Year and the AHSAA Player of the Year. First team All-State. The last 3 years, she was second team All-State when she was in 7th grade. She was the 1A Girl Player of the Year the last 2 years. And then this is the impact, though. And we didn't really talk about this a lot. She won the last 2 volleyball state championships and was MVP. Wow. So she was MVP in volleyball as well. In state, and their team was state champs. And then, not to mention, she decided not to play softball. She quit playing it when she was in middle school. But trust me, Joe, she could have been an all-state softball player. Matter of fact, she could have been a flag football quarterback with her ability. But she ended up, like we said, she won the last 2 volleyball MVPs and state championships as a team. And, of course, they dominated the Cherokee County. She was the MVP of that basketball tournament for the last 5 years. And then she was, and this is the thing where she really did get some respect, the Max Prep Small School Player of the Year, National Player of the Year. And she's just a winner. She's a great kid. And it's a great school, a lot of great people. And they listen to us now religiously.
Absolutely.
So shout out to them, and shout out to all the young people that graduated this week too. It's such a big deal. I cannot believe that it's been over 30 years since I did it.
Yeah, definitely insane to say the least. Then Drew, we appreciate you hopping on spectacular athletes that you just ran down, and now we do need to hop into a break because we got to get out of this first show and get set up for the second one. But great stuff from you.
Oh yeah, you guys are doing the marathon.
It's a marathon today, baby.
Yeah. Bizarre.
Yeah.
So we'll take it to break. When we get back, finish out the part 1 of the Blitz.
Yeah, because unfortunately, there's only 2 baseball games this season.
I wanted to
Is
rain out.
your financial advisor offering you up to a 30% upfront bonus? Are they promising you up to 10% growth per year guaranteed for your retirement income? If not, you need a new financial advisor. I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. If you plan to retire within the next 10 years, don't wait only to find out it's too late. I've seen hardworking folks like you retire only to be required to go back to work, all because their advisor told them guarantees like these were too good to be true. They're not. That's up to $30,000 upfront or up to $10,000 per year on $100,000, all guaranteed for retirement income. Don't work when you're supposed to be retired. If any financial advisor tells you it's too good to be true, they simply don't have the options we do. Call Trajan today, 256-208-9000, 256-208-9000.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
Tom Abraham back from my friend Ross Roberts at Valley Equipment Rental. It's springtime, so let's get that garden tilled with a tiller from Valley Equipment. And while you're at it, snag a power washer for the house and the driveway. And if you're putting in a sprinkler system, they have the small trencher that you need. And you can even rent a Skag zero-turn mower and much more to get your property in shape. Valley Equipment, not just for the contractor, but the homeowner as well. 2 locations on the North and South Parkway. Valley Equipment Rental. Learn more at valleyequipmentrents.com.
Damn, there's the phone and no one to answer.
256-576-4977.
And as a result, we got many, many phone calls and letters.
Give us a call on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline today. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Final segment, best segment of show 1.
Yeah,
show 1. We appreciate you being able to hop in on part 1 of 2 today, because coming up here in about an hour, we'll be right back with the Tom Abraham Show, where we will not be playing some of the things and doing some of the things that Tom normally does on a Friday. At least that's my hope. Depends on what Abraham does over there.
Not me.
Yeah, you Abraham, not other Abraham.
I
Abraham.
show up. I'm like Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
That's right.
The guys you need to talk to about all your roofing needs. I don't show up on the camera, though, because right now the camera's facing
Is it facing the wall?
It's facing something. There's been so many people, so much traffic coming by. Either way, For me and Joe, we're out of here, but we'll be right back.
There's a chair.
Yeah, there's a chair.
There's a chair. I
That's
see the
beautiful.
chair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moulton's here.
Enjoy the baseball later
Just
today.
letting you know because he hasn't had a show all week. Like Moulton's here.
I want to make it out like we're leaving, but we're just going to be back.
No, we'll see you in a few minutes.
hour, so.
Yeah, we'll be back in an hour.
See ya.
The following liner is courtesy of Frank Caliendo. Check out Frank online at frankcaliendo.com.
Tell you what, man, listen to Talking Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew Day Armand. Weekday mornings. Knock on wood if you're with me. I say his name right? Tyson?
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey, Wes. Our company, Fleming Roofing and Restoration, specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a fifth-generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming